All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here in the Central New York Alumni Club program. Really, it's open to all alumni, but this is the brainchild of our club leaders here in Central New York to do a virtual tour of the Schine Student Center. My name is John Boccacino. I'm a class of 2003 graduate from my undergrad with Newhouse Broadcast Journalism. And in 2020, I got my master's degree, my executive master's in public administration from the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. I work in the Office of Alumni Engagement here at Syracuse University. And tonight, we are pleased to bring you an inside, behind the scenes look at the newly renovated Schine Student Center. Boy, I am so excited for Scott Casanova, our guest of honor, to be taking you inside this gem of a hub of student life on campus. They really did a fantastic job with the renovations of the Schine Student Center.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. If you have any problems understanding me, I am wearing a mask due to our campus mask requirements. Schine is a 100% mask zone outside of the dining center. We did reopen our dining center this week. We're seating at 60% capacity for about a month prior to Monday. The campus-wide, we were just kind of grab and go food. So we're excited to have that back open. Starting outside tonight, let me flick my camera for you. Just want to give you a quick look at the new entryway. Let me know if you're having trouble seeing. I'm on my phone tonight to try to stay portable, so we may have issues kind of bouncing from spot to spot. And I will do my best not to turn this into the Blair Witch Project. So out front here, we've shortened the awning a little bit. We have a new naming sign for the Hildegarde and J Myer Schine Student Center. For those who don't know, the Schine was named for Hildegarde and J Myer. Their daughter, Renee Schine Crown, who is also the naming donor of the honors program, made the naming donation for Schine, which opened in 1985. We kind of pan to our left a little bit here, tip up. This is kind of our new dining facade on the first level, almost completely glass around all three exterior sides. And then up above that is a new glass facade for Panashi Lounge. It doesn't look as spectacular from the outside, but we'll definitely get a look of that on the inside. Quick shout out to Mother Nature for holding off long enough on today's snow to let me do this. And we'll move inside.
Scott was quick to point out, by the way, before you, when we were going into the doors here, one of the reasons you'll notice it's not hustle and bustle with students is today is a Wellness Wednesday for the campus and for the university students and everyone on campus. So that's why you'll notice this is not as normally busy and bustling as it would be, especially with, towards the end of the semester as we are here. You usually see a lot more student activity at 7/12 on a Wednesday night.
Yes, the Wellness Wednesday was a alternate to spring break. The university did not provide a spring break in the calendar in an attempt to prevent students from traveling off campus and kind of maintain our COVID bubble here. So moving inside, this little foyer area here normally would be full of lounge furniture in this carpeted area, but with social distancing in effect, we've had to turn it into queuing for the dining center. If you've seen pictures of Schine when we reopened, we've actually put all the furniture in place so marketing communications could come through and take some gorgeous pictures of the center. And then we moved a bunch of it out to keep students to help maintain social distancing. So right away, we've got 3 pillars here of digital signage that are running pretty much anytime the building's open. And we'll move into the dining center here. Our new food options feature Core Life, which is closed at the moment, as well as Panda Express, also closed at the moment. Halal Shack, which is open. We have a biscottis stand. Here's our Halal Shack staff serving dinner. And a little biscottis cafe. Some of the best cupcakes you'll ever eat. I've had way too many stuff from here. Lots of grab and go options. Still got the soda fountains. Different options from the commissary. You come around here a little farther, we have the Tomato Wheel, which is the university's branded pizza shop. which all comes out to and into our dining center.
You too, thank you.
Plenty of monitors for the students to keep up on news and sports. We've got one little nook over here, which is kind of one of my favorite spots. Just run over here real quick. Hopefully not intruding on anybody. Nice little sign here, flag we love orange. A little bit of school spirit in this little nook. A couple other options as I run over. We've got 3 new booths that kind of look out towards Krause College and HL a little bit with some intricate woodwork. I'll see if I can find one that's empty. First one features a shot of the quad during a football pregame. Over here, we've got our good buddy Otto. A nice little plaque here, just kind of describing Otto's history. And my personal favorite, I'll just do a quick shot of this, is a kind of remembrance of the orange tree. For those of you that have been here before, we used to have a real orange tree in the atrium. Unfortunately, that was not able to be preserved into the new renovation. We'll work our way back out here.
Hey, Scott, can I stop you for 1 second while you're
Sure.
in the eatery section here of the Schine?
Sure.
It's really impressive, just the sheer magnitude of awesome dining choices. I know that one of the crowning points of the Schine Student Center renovation was the feedback that was received from students, faculty, staff, and the campus community. From what you can gather, what kind of feedback from the students led to the choices that we've seen here when it comes to the eating area, the dining area, and just this open, bright, vibrant space here in the restaurant area?
Well, I know a lot of the desire for Schine was to just open it up a lot more glass, a lot more natural lighting. That was one of the original concepts. As far as student feedback on the food, core was probably almost a unanimous request from the students, Core Life Eatery. I'm more of a pizza guy myself, but judging by the lines that we've had since we've opened and reopened again with COVID and everything, it's definitely been a hit. They're working now to expand their hours a little bit. They've gotten some feedback about when they close. Again, if this were a normal class day, this would be a lot more busier out here. All right, so we'll move on to the dining center here. This is our new entrance to Panashi Lounge. The staircase that was originally by the old dining entrance got completely demolished. And they moved it over here. And let's see. We do have a little bit of student activity up here tonight, so we'll try and keep it quiet. And hopefully, first thing you'll notice is these incredible views of campus out the windows here. If anybody remembers, there used to be 1 or 2 windows kind of on each wall, and they've completely opened it up and put in glass everywhere to give what I think might entirely Maxwell and Krause from anywhere on campus. Walk around here towards Newhouse a little bit. The tent you see there was one of our dining alternatives for while the dining centers were closed. They were allowing students to eat outside. Sometimes the weather was favorable for that, but as I'm sure you might remember, Syracuse in March and April was pretty unpredictable. As you can see, the snow falling now. Anybody who spent a late night up here studying might be glad to see that our fireplace is still here and active. we'll move on from here. Unless John's got any questions or.
Yes, Scott, I guess another observation besides the beautiful, breathtaking views of our picturesque campus, I think it's really a theme that our people will witness tonight on this program is the amount of gathering spaces, the amount of places for students to, whether it's in study groups or by themselves to unwind. It really seems like this is the fulfillment of that hub of campus, that hub of student life. How have you seen what we're witnessing right now with Schine play out towards that realization of making this be the heartbeat, the hub of campus here on Syracuse University?
It's definitely been a popular spot, especially during the day, during classes. COVID and some of the protocols we've been forced to enact to kind of protect our community here has made it a challenge for kind of establishing a larger kind of culture around the Schine. We haven't had very many events this semester just based on capacity limitations and performance limitations. The VPA students are really limited into how they can sing or play their instruments. Events that we have had have been largely virtual, where we've had a performance or we've had to stream it. So we haven't had those numbers of students coming to Schine yet for kind of the big events that we typically host. So it has been kind of quiet in the evenings, weekends, but there is a population that was here prior to our closing that's been very excited to return and see the changes that we brought about. All right, moving on here. So the next change you might recognize is to the bookstore, which has this large enlarged glass facade. So you can see all the goodies that I know you're all about to race to the website to purchase. Some stuffed autos, polos, some towels. The bookstore itself is closed for the evening, but we'll come back to that in a bit. They're also finishing up some final touches. I saw Roger in the guest list. He might be able to elaborate on that a little more. So we come around this way, the elevator for Goldstein Auditorium, the entrance to the balcony level of Goldstein Auditorium is still here, touched up to match the new decor, but kind of structurally unchanged. The auditorium itself had very little done to it. The entire building got a new fire alarm detection system, but that's pretty much consists of all the work that was done to Goldstein Auditorium. Look at it now, it's probably how you'll remember it. Our group first year players is actually rehearsing tonight, so we can't really go in there. They're actually recording, we're filming their show this year to be released via Zoom or some other streaming platform. Moving over a little bit, we have our naming wall. We'll zoom in on this. Talking about Myer Schine Crown and their generosity over the years towards campus. And then a larger kind of, I should call this a contributors plaque, others that have made major donations to the construction and renovation of Schine. We'll come around this way. The old Waverly stairs are still there.
Hey, Scott, before I get you going too far away from Goldstein Auditorium, one of our guests here, Pam Mulligan, would like to know about Goldstein Auditorium and how much it's changed. How much would we recognize it? I know we can't go in there because of first year players, but how can you describe the changes that have taken place, if any, to Goldstein?
Architecturally, it is largely unchanged from when it opened in '86. The Schine itself opened in '85. Goldstein Auditorium opened in '86. We've made a lot of investments into the technology, so we've been able to stay current with event support, with high definition video projection, moving lights for concerts and student productions, upgraded sound. But architecturally, if you've ever been in Goldstein, you won't realize you've left. Yeah, So moving back here, after we pass the Waverly entrance, here we find our Dunkin', now on the north wall of the atrium with some custom Dunkin' signage, also closed for the night. And this brings us back around to our student activities area. So previously, our tabling opportunity promote their activities and their philanthropies was in the main atrium. It's now been moved back into this space. A couple of the tables that students can reserve do come with a monitor, so they can play a little presentation about what they're fundraising for or what possibly a past event that they're preparing to put on again. We move back here. We have some conference rooms in the back. The one back here worth noting is the Menschel Conference Room. Previously, was an art gallery located up in the Panashi Lounge. That was removed to open up that big glass facade and to preserve that naming opportunity. We've created this conference room, which is a little more upscale from the rest of the conference rooms with regards to the furniture amenities. It's also a little more private. I believe it's the only conference room that doesn't have a glass wall out into the main lounge area. All the technology in the conference rooms is brand new, even with some late ads for all the Zoom and Skype and Teams meetings that are happening. Two more conference rooms here. A couple of email stations for students to sit and just check their email or do work on some papers. And then one of the new additions here is this new elevator in the north west corner of the building that hits the second floor that we're on now, the first floor, a Waverly lobby, which we'll get to later, and then all the way down to the underground level, which makes that old entrance that didn't really look like an entrance under the old marquee on Waverly now a fully accessible to all levels of the building entrance. I saw a quick request to check out another conference room. So we'll peek in here. Conference room 228. A temporary occupancy limit of 10. The lights should come on, there we go. Currently set for a large conference square. Similar to some of our previous options, we do have the ability to set this up with round tables or straight chairs, depending on the nature of the program and what the sponsors are looking for.
Scott's a good person to have leading this tour guide. As you can see, he's got the fob that lets us into almost any one of these rooms here in Schine to get the inside access. But if we're not lucky enough to be Scott Casanova, how would one go about if they needed to use one of the conference rooms or reserving some of the space, whether you're a student or an alum? Scott, what is that process like?
So all the spaces are reservable through our website, our office website, scps.syr.edu. You need to be either an administrative or an academic department or a registered student organization to reserve space on campus. We do make some accommodations for students that are, doing film projects that normally wouldn't be eligible to reserve space, but we want to support them academically. So we do our best to accommodate them, around the existing schedules. All right, so coming back this way, opposite the tables, the lights are off here, but this is the new University Union office suite. And then coming back this way, kind of a large suite encompasses all of student activities. Inside there is our student association office. And then into the back are kind of cubbies and workstations for student orgs to store materials, to have meetings. Again, something that's hasn't really been able to happen the way we had envisioned due to the COVID restrictions that we're under at the moment. But hopefully come fall, especially with the new mandate about vaccination for staff and students as of June 1st, we'll be able to get back to something a little more resembling normal here on our campus. Spinning around here real quick. Just some more digital signage right outside the student activities suite. And then a large Syracuse University sign.
Scott, I'm not going to make you name all of them, but I know that one of the biggest areas where feedback was provided was having more accessibility, not only to the building itself, but for student organizations on campus. Can you talk a little bit about the breadth of scope of how many student activities and organizations are going to be housed or are currently housed in Schine?
So currently we have about 350 what we call registered student organizations. Those are kind of formally recognized organizations through the Office of Student Activities. They each have their own e-board leadership structure. Through that process, they're eligible to reserve space. They're eligible to apply for funding through Student Association for events, or if they're publications based, like some of the magazines, they can apply for funding to have their magazines printed. A lot of the space in Schine has gone to accommodating them. The student activity suite is probably double. I don't know the exact square footage, but probably double what it was before in terms of space allotted to students. They've kind of upgraded the storage. Before we kind of had these like kind of slapdash, for lack of a better term, cubicles that they could store materials in, and now we've got lockers, and some have, UU and Student Association have their own office suites to help them with their business. Moving into the stairwell here, you might recognize the graffiti stairwell. This is original back to '85. This was something that was earmarked to be preserved as part of the renovation. The original artist actually came back in 2005 as part of a 20th birthday celebration for the building that our office put on, and actually touched it up to kind of modernize it at the time, keeping the same kind of hip hop theme. And we're actually bringing that artist back again this summer to touch it up again. It did suffer some damage, which was really unavoidable just based on the way the building was constructed originally, and lighting fixtures that had to be removed. And just the nature of the work being done. So definitely excited to have that person back and see what they can do. And then this brings us to what might be probably my favorite feature of Schine is our new lower atrium, featuring our new video wall for student entertainment. Previously, this was the spiral staircase, if anybody remembers that, in which the planter for the orange tree sat. There was a lot of structural work that needed to be done to actually accommodate this. If you look at these light columns around, inside those are brand new steel support pillars to help support kind of the upper level of the atrium we just came down from. Looking up to the top here, we have a chandelier. And then the ceiling actually lights up orange every night. I triggered it a little early because usually it doesn't come on until after sunset. But hopefully that's coming through for everybody. They did a full kind of lighting system up there, so I can pick any color. There's some dynamic capabilities to have the lights move and turn color as part of like a scene. And they even gave me a hookup to plug in one of our lighting consoles so I can take full control of the colored LEDs, the chandelier, and these columns, these LED columns that surround the area for different events that we might have. That might have come through if anybody saw the Chancellor's reopening ceremony that we filmed to be shared on social media. Most recently, we had our Sweet 16 game watch party here. That was kind of our first formal event. We watched the game. We were able to accommodate 30 students based on the seating capacity. Everybody came in their orange and blue and cheered on the orange. And everybody had a great time, with maybe the possible exception of the outcome of that game.
Yeah, Scott, real quick before I get you to leave this space here, it's unbelievable. Just picture the enthusiasm and the energy of Syracuse basketball and the Sweet 16. I know the outcome wasn't what we expected against Houston, but can you just describe a little bit about maybe the sense of normalcy that you got seeing this space being used for what it's meant to be used for, school spirit and cheering on the orange? How cool was that moment for you?
It was really kind of I don't even know the right word, realization moment. It really showed us what the potential for what we could do here. I know there's a lot of intention to highlight all of the sports. We've been showing softball and ice hockey and both lacrosse teams, as they've been available on broadcast TV or streaming. We're still waiting for some of the additional components for this system to come in for the video wall. A lot of the AV that was ordered for the building in general was back ordered, just based on everybody having to Zoom for the last year and buying all the back stock on video equipment. But it was a decent sized crowd for what we could do, and everybody was very passionately rooting for the orange. And it was probably the closest I felt to being in the dome in a long time.
Yeah, that sense of normalcy that we're all longing for during the pandemic. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier with the orange tree. Obviously, we can see that it's no longer here. Can you give our audience a little bit of insight into the rationale behind the orange tree no longer being a part of Schine? And do you know what actually happened to the physical tree itself?
So this is my understanding. Please don't take this as gospel. There was some health concerns, some health code concerns based on the new open format for dining. It's my understanding that there had been some pest issues from time to time, just based on having a tree of that nature in Schine. I can't speak to the decision as to whether or not to keep it, but it is also my understanding that just based on its age, that it did not survive the extraction process from its planter. I believe there was an intention to save it to a greenhouse somewhere locally. I don't know if that was on campus or somewhere in the community. But again, it's my understanding that it did not survive the extraction from the planter, just based on how deeply rooted it was.
Great, thank you for that.
Yep, a couple other features here. We've got some kind of booths along the wall here for students to hang on. And right now we're kind of limiting to 2 people per booth, 1 per side of the table. I don't know if you can see the sign here, 1 person per couch. So hopefully we'll be able to get back to having people in here on greater numbers. I did want to point out some of the new signage that's into the ceiling on the 2nd floor. Easier to show it from down here, at least from a phone perspective. It doesn't quite read as well for the campus store and for the auditorium. And if I step back a little over here, can't quite read it all, but student activities, office, student organizations. All right, so we'll come back this way. To what is now the Intercultural Collective. We've moved all the cultural centers to one location here in Schine. Pop in here so the lights come on so we can see it a little bit. So this is the new home of the Office of the LGBTQA Resource Center, as well as the Disability Cultural Center. Something that I know a lot of people have been asking for a while is to bring the LGBTQA Center to Schine, and then this renovation provided a great opportunity to have them kind of co-located to serve overlapping populations of those students. pop back out here. Our office is right here, Student Centers and Programming Services. We're not as important. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way. People don't come to Schine for our office, so we're a little tucked away, which is perfectly okay. We have another small lounge area here with another monitor that students can plug their laptops in to watch movies or work on group projects. A lot of these cubbies, not sure if you can see it well, have power built in, so you can charge your phone, you can plug in your laptop. Same with a lot of the sofas and couches. Another conference room right here. Not really pretty at the moment because we're storing some furniture in there. And one more small conference room back here, as well as a couple more email stations and that new elevator that I was talking about. And a little back door for the staff of the Intercultural Collective. One thing I won't show you, but might be worth mentioning, all the restrooms got a huge makeover. I feel like I'm in an airport. They've put like this beautiful orange tile in all of them to kind of, again, orange up everything. There's a lot more school spirit in the Schine, I feel. It was hard to kind of connect it to the rest of campus previously, just with all the brick and not a lot of color and life to it. And then come down one more floor. And this brings us to, I'm not sure how well this is going to show on the phone. So now we're outside the room that's called the Underground. We got a nice big lit sign in the ceiling here. If you're not familiar with the Underground, it used to be the Milky Way. When Schine opened, it was kind of like the pub on campus that was open for like a year because Schine opened, and then they raised the alcohol age limit. So it turned into like a dance club venue for student orgs to host dances and talent shows and award ceremonies, all kinds of different events. We have another lounge area over here. And this is one of the more popular spots. I think it's because the students feel a little more private down here. That's my opinion. I know this is where we've had a lot of people hanging out late at night. It's got I've been told it has a New York City feel to it. I haven't really spent a lot of time there, so I can't comment on that personally. We've got two of these photo montage walls. Again, I don't know what went into picking these photos, but it's a nice sampling of student life. Picture here from Juice Jam, our big fall music festival. Picture here of students watching basketball in Old Schine Dining. His Holiness the Dalai Lama on his visit to campus. I believe, forgive me if I'm wrong, a lecture by the Syracuse 8 here in Goldstein Auditorium. And right now, possibly our most popular alum. And of course, Otto, blowing bubbles, it looks like. So a little bit of history here with old events to kind of tie Old Schine into New Schine. One more big underground sign on this side of the lounge area. Some digital signage. Another entrance to the underground. The basement level or zero level of the new elevator. And then these stairs lead us up into the new entryway I was talking about. So looking right out here towards Waverly Avenue. You come in, take those stairs I just came up, some more digital signage. Come around this beautiful S right here, which leads you to the elevator to take you either down to the 0 level, the underground, or up to the 1st or 2nd floors. And kind of, I guess, end the experience here. Anybody remembers that marquee that used to be out here on Waverly that stopped working like my sophomore year? That's been kind of filled in with another more signage to name the building, and just kind of tie this piece kind of aesthetically into the rest of the design of the student center.
Scott, it's evident just how much has drastically changed, for the better from the old Schine to the newly renovated Schine Student Center. I know almost everyone here on this call is an alum who went to Syracuse, and you work for the university. You're a 99 grad. When you walked in for the first time, what were the instincts? What were the thoughts that struck you about just how night and day difference this building was compared to what you were experiencing as a student?
It's very surreal. I was fortunate enough to be able to walk through here at a couple different points in time during the process to see the process of the changes being made. And, I think that's something that's kind of really helped ground me as to where I am sometimes, that some of the changes are so drastic that you don't realize where you are in relation to where you were in the previous incarnation of the building. The one thing that still gets me is, I didn't point this out completely, but the beacon, what we call the beacon, which has replaced the pyramid, is all clear glass now. So during the daytime, if it's a beautiful day outside, it's a beautiful day inside. And it's still a little jarring to me, even 3 months later, to have this unfiltered, unobstructed sunshine just coming straight into the central atrium of the building. And it really brightens the place up.
And it was great to also see the real-time snow as you walked outside to see the marquee in the back, the former marquee, that we're not lying about snow in central New York on April 21st up here. It's really remarkable to take a look through, and everyone keeps commenting on how great the renovations look, how bright, how vibrant this is. I think an underrated aspect of the renovations too is the accessibility factor. What can you say, Scott, about the goal of making this building more accessible? And really, that seems like it really came in from both feedback from students and the campus community, and also a need to adjust, because when Schine was built in '85, accessibility wasn't something that we concerned ourselves with, unfortunately.
Well, the university has made a large commitment across campus as part of the current campus framework for renovation and expansion and improvement.
We might have lost Scott as he is going up in an elevator.
Yeah. There was a lot of thought and time put into that. There were focus groups with students of that community to kind of highlight challenges that Schine had previously and how they can accommodate them in the renovation. Some of the things that they've added, in addition to elevator access everywhere. I'm looking for the signs here. There's Braille on a lot of the signage. And even on the railing, I'll come back to the atrium here. On the top of the railing on the upper level, they've added Braille signage around there to give people with visual impairments and disabilities a better way to wayfind as they move about the building.
I know, Scott, that events have been reduced greatly, especially as we're dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic. But there have been some events that have taken place in Shine, including that Sweet 16 watch party. What other types of events have gone on so far? And when do you think we're going to start to see more of an influx of student events and activities in the new beautiful Schine Student Center?
Let me come back to that in a second, John. There's one more feature I forgot to point out. While the bookstore itself is closed, they've relocated their convenience store to this first level in this corner. Some new branding and everything, and some extended hours for the convenience store. So while the rest of the campus store is closed, students can still come through, grab some snacks, grab some coffee, all through this entrance that's now on the first level of Shine. To come back to your question about events, this week we're hosting first year players, and current COVID restrictions limit singing to 18 feet distanced from person to person with masks on. So they spent the first part of this week just recording vocals. The pit orchestra did all their recording last week at Newhouse. So with the exception of spoken dialogue, everything that they're doing has been pre-recorded. And then we're going to pull that all together and video record everything, the pre-recorded music, the pre-recorded vocals, and then the live spoken dialogue over the course of the next couple nights to create kind of a final video product of their show. Last week we hosted DanceWorks. Dance is a little less restrictive, still asking them to maintain 6 feet spacing, keep their masks on, which they all did a fabulous job of incorporating that in their costume design, I'll say. And again, we recorded each dance individually. They did some pre-recording of introductory videos, and that's all going to be pulled together into one longer video presentation to be premiered at some point in the next couple weeks. We're currently working with them right now to see about actually doing that on the quad as kind of like a movie night. That's really the highlights, unfortunately, for events that we've been hosting in Shine, just because it hasn't really been much that we could do. The students haven't really wanted to do things that they have traditionally done that they can't do in the way that they want. We did a lot of outdoor movie nights in the fall. First year transfer programs purchased a large inflatable movie screen that we set up on the quad. We set up outside of Flint and had, the office night and Parks and Rec night. And we live streamed the iHeartRadio Festival for 2 nights in September. And that's really kind of been the bulk of our programming options, just based on the restrictions. There's no eating and Shine outside of the dining center, so we can't have food at events, which is usually a big staple. Anything we've done food wise has been grab and go. Our Orange After Dark program, run out of the Office of Student Activities, has been very busy hosting grab and go paint nights and having a paint instructor zoom in to anybody wanting to join to do a paint project, or do trivia nights, or have virtual comedy shows. But as far as being in person, we really haven't either had the interest from the students to pull things together, or just the ability to have people come together to do events in the way that we have in the past. As far as coming back to that, it's really kind of going to depend, I think, on the community. If we can kind of stick to our desire to have everyone vaccinated by June 1st, and as part of their requirement to return to campus, I think we can come close. To be honest, we're really not looking beyond graduation at this point. I think we're all just really excited that we can have an in-person commencement in some fashion. Seniors that work for me in our office are very excited to be able to have something. I think it's real fresh in their minds that the class of 2020, unfortunately just couldn't do anything at that time, and the university is still committed to and working to pull something together for those graduates.
Yeah, it's really been a test of the flexibility of everybody in the university leadership to pull off, again, an in-person commencement for those deserving class of 2021 students. I know the class of 2020, I believe the 19th of September, they are planning on having their ceremony to get a special, distinct celebration for their graduation as well. But Scott, one of the last questions I have for you, I know this has been awesome to really get in-depth look at the new Schine Student Center. Knowing that a lot of the people on this program are local, what is the policy for alumni who would want to come back and take a look at this beautiful building in person?
That's kind of a loaded question, to be honest. I know we've recently reopened the campus to tours. That we're not doing the admissions programs in the way that we used to with kind of the large programs. In Schine, we'd have a large program in Schine where everyone would start their day and meet, listen to some admissions folks talk about how great the university is, and then kind of move out to the different schools and colleges for their individual presentations, and then kind of tour the campus from there. A lot of it is either, very small tour groups, no more than 4 or 5, plus a tour guide, a University 100 member, or just kind of the self-guided tour. We've really been trying to discourage the general public from coming out, just trying to maintain our bubble. I know there was some question as to what reopening the dome for the last couple of lacrosse games would do for that. We haven't, in our kind of larger area, haven't noticed really any change in traffic from that. There may have been some increased traffic at the campus store, just people happy to be back on campus and kind of hit the campus store. In terms of Schine accessibility, the building is open 7:30 to 11 Monday through Friday, 11 to 11 Saturday and Sunday, with a caveat there that at 8 o'clock the doors lock and the building is SUID access only. So that's something that we've taken to kind of ensure that it's just our campus population that's coming in here. I would imagine that as families come for commencement, that there'll be some increased traffic from the general public. And then as we move into summer hours, we'll probably see some increased traffic as well. Just the campus, I think, in my opinion, again, please don't take this as any kind of official statement. But I think with the desire to have in-person commencement and then hopefully get larger crowds back into the stadium for the fall, the university will move towards kind of a little more open door policy. But again, that's completely my interpretation and could at any moment go 100% the opposite way.
Well, Scott, this has really been, again, a fascinating look behind the scenes at the renovated Schine Student Center. I know I want to thank everybody on behalf of this program for your insights and your expertise in giving us this behind the scenes look at the Schine. It was phenomenal. We appreciate everything you did for us, all the insights you shared, and thanks for making this really happen for us. This wouldn't be possible without you being our person on the ground to take us through each and every nook and cranny. It was really eye-opening.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks to everybody who was able to come out tonight.